الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، وقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. صدق الله العظيم. My dear brothers and sisters, all praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him and we glorify Him. It's something which we take for granted, all the blessings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And what ends up happening is we fall into this idea that I was the one who did this. That whatever blessings I have, it was because of me. It was because of the knowledge that I had, or the effort that I made, or the family that I have, or this or that other privilege. When in fact, those blessings were from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all along. And if we were to look into the world today, we would find that the evils of the world and the suffering that exists in the world is because of the inability to show gratitude and appreciation for the blessings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And so the topic I want to talk about today is, what does it mean to be a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He describes the servants of Ar-Rahman, Ibad Ar-Rahman. And Ibad is the plural of Abd. Abd meaning servant of Allah, slave of Allah. The plural of Abd, there are two plurals. One is Abid. And the other plural that's used in the Quran is Ibad. And Abid is used generally for all kinds of servants in every situation. But ibad are the righteous servants of Allah. Wa ibadur Rahman, the righteous servants of the most merciful. So the first quality of these people, the first quality of these people is that they are servants of the merciful. Allah did not say they are the servants of the one who punishes. Allah is the one who exacts punishment. Allah is the just. Allah is the powerful. Allah is the mighty. But when describing His servants, He says these are the servants of the most merciful. So they are people of mercy. Now, what is the first thing? If you were told that you are the chosen servant of Allah, how would you walk on the earth? How would you be towards people? You would say, whatever I say is right. I'm the chosen servant of Allah. Whatever I do is the right way. Everyone should follow me. But the second quality, الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا, those who when they walk on the earth, they don't walk with force. They don't walk with arrogance. They don't walk with my way or the highway. They walk with humility. They walk gently. And so are we those people who walk on the earth gently? وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ, and when ignorant people, when ignorant ones debate with them or talk to them about ignorant things, قَالُوا سَلَامًا, then their response is peace. Their response is not, let me get down to where you are and let me match your aggression or match your ignorance or match your arrogance. Their response is salama. Their response is peace. And so we look at the order as well, that the first response is how they respond to people, how they are with people. That becomes their quality of humility. It's shown in their response to people. وَالَّذِينَ يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا. And then there comes their connection to Allah. So the humility is first shown in their relationship with people and then also in their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who spend the night in sujood and qiyam. And then the next quality after that is that they spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I would like to focus on this aspect of humility and what it means in our deen and how we compare it to arrogance and how we balance that with our competitive nature, our ambition, and confidence. Humility, what is humility? Humility is to give up your own self-importance. Allah follows this verse that talks about humility. He says to spend. He says to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you give to someone who is in need, you are saying that my use of this money is not as important as your use of this money. Many people, they say, once I become this multi-millionaire and I get this specific job, then I'm going to give like crazy. I'm going to give to everyone. I'm going to be so generous. But then you read about the billionaire who says, I can't just give it away. I'm a steward of this wealth. I'm a steward of this wealth. My job is to take care of this wealth and to make sure that it increases and that it grows. I can't just give it all away. My intention of using this money and my reason for this money and my role that I have for this money is more important than what anyone else could do. But when you give, you're saying that your spending of this wealth is more important than what I might have in mind, or that in a way that I could use it. It's important for you to have this. You're saying, this is an obligation I have towards you. This is your right. And that is what we as Muslims believe, that we are not on this earth without privilege, that we are not on this earth without blessing, but that everything we have is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a gift. And when you know something is a gift, it's easy to give. But when you think it's not a gift and it's your right and it's your privilege, it's the thing that you were owed, it's your entitlement, then it becomes hard to give. But if it's something you know was a gift all along, then it's okay. You can give a little to others. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us humble. The Prophet ﷺ, he was a humble. The Prophet ﷺ had every reason to act like he was above others, but he did not. He was humble. When the man grabbed the Prophet ﷺ's clothes in front of the companions, and the companions were about to jump that man, were about to take him down, and the Prophet ﷺ said, no, give him what he deserves, give him what he needs. And give him extra because you've scared him. Even though the Prophet ﷺ is the ruler, even though the Prophet ﷺ is in the position of power, yet he is able to show mercy. When people would come to the Prophet ﷺ and they were in need, then he would give the shirt off of his back to them. He would give his ring. Gave his ring to a woman who was in need, that sell this ring and use it to feed your family. Sell this ring, this personal, sentimental possession that I have. Sell this and use it to feed your family. So this idea of self-importance, it goes away when one is humble. The Prophet ﷺ told us, "Man tawada'a lillahi rafa'ahu Allah." That the one who is humble for the sake of Allah, Allah actually raises that person. وَمَن تَكَبَّرَ. As for the one who is arrogant, وَضَعَهُ اللَّهُ. Allah debases that. Allah brings that person down. So it's important for us to realize that arrogance becomes that blocker. Arrogance becomes that blocker to the rest of our life. Allah says, وَلَا تَمْشِي, using a similar example of walking. وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. Don't walk on the earth in an arrogant manner, in a boastful manner, in a prideful manner, for you will never tear the earth. You will never make any dent in the earth, and you will never reach the heights of the mountains. You will never reach the height of the mountains. Be aware of your own existence, your own simple existence and your own mortality, and don't walk on the earth with arrogance. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said that the Prophet ﷺ said to the companions that no one who has a weight of arrogance in their heart will enter paradise. No one with a small amount of arrogance will enter paradise. And one of the companions, he had a beautiful question. A beautiful question. That we should all be glad that he asked this question. Because it further defined for us what arrogance is. He said, "O Prophet of Allah, what if someone likes to wear nice clothes?" He said, "O Prophet of Allah, what if someone likes to have and wear nice clothes or nice shoes? Is that arrogance?" And what did the Prophet ﷺ, what did he say? He said, "Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal." He said, Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty. So bringing beauty in your life is not arrogance. Bringing beauty in your life is not arrogance. And then he defined arrogance and he said, arrogance is that you belittle others and you ignore the truth. That you belittle others and you ignore the truth. That becomes your definition of arrogance. That becomes how we understand arrogance. So arrogance is not that you beautify. Arrogance is not that you beautify yourself or your belongings or you like nice things. That's not arrogance. But arrogance is that you belittle others.
That now that you have that nice thing in your life, do you now look down upon everyone else who does not have that nice thing? That once you start dressing well, you discover nice clothes and you start dressing well, you look down on everyone else who does not dress as well as you. Or once you buy that nice car, you're racing everyone else because you want to show that the car is the fastest car. Or you look down upon others for what they might have. Or that you ignore the truth and reality of what is real. And I'm going to give you an example. Ibn Qudama, the famous scholar, he talked about this hadith, he commentated on this hadith, and he said, why is it that arrogance is chosen here as the blocker from paradise? That someone who has even a small amount of arrogance does not enter paradise. Why arrogance? Why not something else? Why not drinking alcohol or eating haram or something else, being angry and showing anger upon people or insulting others? Why arrogance? And he said, because arrogance leads to everything else. Because arrogance, it leads to everything else. The arrogant person cannot love for others what they love for themselves because they feel entitled to what they have. So they cannot love for their brother and sister what they love for themselves. The arrogant one cannot be humble on the earth. The arrogant one cannot control their anger. That in a moment of anger and power, they cannot show mercy and compassion. They cannot accept sincere advice that could help them improve themselves. They cannot accept it, the arrogant person. The arrogant person looks down upon others and backbites them and tells others about their faults. And so because arrogance, it leads to everything else. It becomes the blocker from paradise. It becomes the thing which prevents us from entering paradise. We ask Allah that He protects us from arrogance. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us, سأصرف عن آياتي الذين يتكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وإن يروا كل آية لا يؤمنوا بها وإن يروا سبيل الرشد لا يتخذوه سبيلا وإن يروا سبيل الغي يتخذوه سبيلا ذلك بأنهم كذبوا بآياتنا وكانوا عنها غافلين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us that once that seed of arrogance is in the heart, and may Allah protect us from that seed of arrogance, then what happens is that this person becomes distracted from any kind of good thing, becomes distracted from the straight path, becomes distracted from any good advice that they might hear, and they turn away from every good thing or everything that's better for them. They're not able to stick to anything good, and rather when they see the wrong path, then they double down on the wrong path. And arrogance leads them to double down on that wrong path. And so when we hear the Quran, what are we supposed to do, my brothers and sisters? We're supposed to be quiet when we hear the verses of Quran. Why should we be quiet when the Quran is recited? Why does Allah say in the Quran that when the verses of Quran are recited, فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ أَنصِتُوا وَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ, that be silent and listen to the Quran? Is it just so that we can hear the words of the Quran in Arabic, even if we don't understand it? Or is it because the Quran is a good reminder and it's good advice? It's a good reminder and it's a good advice. You might have that family friend or that friend of yours or that cousin of yours or that sibling of yours or that father figure of yours or mother figure of yours, the auntie or uncle or whoever, someone who whenever you see them talks about Allah and talks about the Quran. And you're thinking to yourself, here we go again. Here we go again. The lecture has begun. Here we go again. But catch yourself. Catch yourself. And realize that it's not about the messenger, it's about the message. Even if the messenger is an imperfect messenger, even if the messenger can be self-righteous from time to time, what is the actual message? They are the vessel. They have become the vessel for this message to come to me. So let me not be arrogant when I'm hearing the Quran. Let me not be arrogant when someone is telling me about the Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us to do that. Ameen. Now a big question in this day and age, a big question is, what is the difference between arrogance and confidence? What is the difference between arrogance and confidence? That you go, you apply for the job that you want, and you confidently talk about your qualifications and your skills, and they say, can you do this? And yes, you say, yes, I can. And they say, have you done this before? You said, yes, I've done this, and I've done this, and this is how great I am. Hire me because this is how great I am. So what is the difference then between confidence and arrogance? We have the example of Yusuf alayhi salam. The beautiful example of Yusuf alayhi salam, who came to the king and he said, "Ij'alni ala khaza'in al-ard." He said, make me in charge of the treasuries of the land, the granaries of the land. Because you're going to suffer 7 years of good times and 7 years of drought. And Yusuf was the one who interpreted that dream. Yusuf did not have experience or history of government or politics. He did not have a history of all this experience. But he said that I am someone who knows what to do, alim. And I am hafiz, and I will be protective over the things that I'm in charge of. I am competent and I am trustworthy. I am competent and I am trustworthy. And he put himself up for this position. He didn't think to himself that I've lived a life as a child slave and I've been in prison for this many years. But he put himself up for this position because he knew what it required and he was confident that he was able to do the job. And he said, "Ij'alni ala khaza'in al-ard." So as long as you are not belittling others, and as long as what you are saying is true, as long as what you are saying is true, then that is not arrogant. That is confident. So let us not mix those two things. So being humble about what you've accomplished, but when it comes time that it's relevant, it's a job interview, now it's relevant for me to share my qualifications and my abilities. On the other hand, in a different context, someone says to you, "Oh, I didn't get the job that I really wanted." And you tell them, "Well, you know me, I did one job interview and I got the job." Now is not the time where you need to talk about your qualifications and your skills to help this brother, to empathize with him or to sympathize with what he's gone through. Now is not the time to belittle this person that, "Oh, you couldn't get it after 3 interviews? Well, I got it in the first interview." Who would have thought? So it's important. The context is important for what becomes arrogance versus what becomes confidence. And it's important for all of us to think on that. Another question that comes up is, what is the difference between arrogance and ambition or even competition? That if I am competitive, am I arrogant? If I am ambitious, that I have a pie in the sky dream of what I want to do, and everyone around me is thinking, "No one can do that. Come on, you can't do that." Everyone around you is telling you no, but you have this dream and you want to achieve it, and you're ambitious. Is that arrogance? Again, it boils down to context. It boils down to context. When are you acting in this way? When are you saying this or that? And you have situations, for example, where there was the group, the healthcare group, that took lots of investor money and made all kinds of claims about what their product could do. And at the end of the day, now those people are going to prison for fraudulent actions. So it's one thing to have a dream and for it to depend upon truth and to be ambitious with truth. And it's another to be ambitious in the face of falsehood, in the face of fraudulent actions and cheating and so on. So arrogance, again, the Prophet ﷺ, he defined it for us so well. He said, it is to belittle others and to ignore the truth. It is to belittle others and to ignore the truth. And it's important for us to not use this information to deem who in our life is arrogant and who in our life is ignorant. Because as you're talking about this, maybe you're thinking of the person in your life, the sibling or the friend or the family member or whoever. That person's arrogant. Yeah, all the things the Shaykh said, yeah, you're definitely that. But the point is to be introspective and to think about, are these qualities in me? When are the times where I belittle others? And can I catch myself before that happens? When are the times when I ignore the truth and I fail to take accountability for my actions? When do I play the blame game and externalize the problems in my life, that it's that person's fault and it's that person's fault and it's this person's fault, and I'm unable to take accountability for the things that I could have done, for the things that I could have improved? Recently someone came to me and was talking about the evil eye. And they said that as I was growing up, people would tell me that whenever something goes wrong in their life, it must be a jinn who's been placed on them, or some kind of curse or spell that's been placed on them. When in fact, the reason your pizza shop is failing is because your pizza is not very good. The reason that this thing is happening to you is not some external factor, but first look within. First look within. What are the things that I could have done? What are the things that I could have done differently? Yes, there are external factors, no doubt. There can be external factors. But the first thing should not be, let me consider everything outside. The first thing should be, let me consider what I could have done. Let me consider what I could have done differently. What can I learn from this so the next time this doesn't happen again? And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He protects us and saves us from arrogance. That if we have any small amount of arrogance or large amount of arrogance, that He helps us to remove that from our hearts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He grants us humility, like the humility of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and confidence, like the confidence of Yusuf alayhi salam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to follow the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that when we make mistakes, and that when we sin, and when we follow the wrong path, we ask Allah that He forgives us, and He straightens us up, and He sends us along the right path. That He guides us to that straight path. That He takes us to that straight path. That He keeps us on that straight path. And He helps us to see the end of that straight path in the hereafter, in the akhirah, in Jannatul Firdaus. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has mercy on those that have passed. That He gives shifa to those that are sick. That He gives righteous children to those who want children. That He gives a righteous spouse to those who want marriage. That He gives a good job to those that are in need of a job. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم ولذكر الله تعالى أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقم الصلاة.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Qad qamate salah, qad qamate salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. us from the gaps.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله 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 أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Just one very important announcement that's not up there is that the church parking, we've received a complaint from our neighbor, the church. It's something very important for all of us to know, that we are not supposed to park in the church parking, especially on Fridays. They've rented it out to a different company.